I started on line construction with Ontario Hydro in '51. I started on construction. We used to go through every summer and do a patrol on the line, then go through in the wintertime and repair whatever we found. I never stayed in the patrol shacks, but I stayed in the houses, lots. For us at that time, we thought they were mansions. They were great. We had generators set up and running water, showers and everything. When we worked on it, it was so rotten that when we went to clip that telephone on, sometimes you didn't have enough pole to climb. You'd have to go and cut a tree down and strap it to the pole and climb the tree, because the poles were that rotten. We never had hardly anything for equipment. We had no winches or nothing. We used rope blocks to set the poles. Like, we had nothing to work with. A Nodwell tractor is all we had, and that we used for transportation pretty much. The hardest part was letting the old poles down after you changed them over, transferred the conductors and everything. You'd hook a set of rope blocks on the set of rope blocks you used to set the new pole. You'd transfer them over to let the old one down. And to get the old one down without it breaking in half, several times we'd knock the line out. It seemed every time there was some big shot in there watching us for the day, well, that's when we knocked the line out. Didn't matter if it was 10 below or 40 below, you went to work. The worst part working in there in the winter time was digging the holes. The poles were all rocked in, the frost would go down, and you'd bar there sometimes for 3-4 hours before you get a hole down. Yeah, some of them got set a little shallow. In the wintertime, I thought it was the best. Get a whole crew of men in there, and we'd play cards till midnight. The odd time a bottle would be there, yeah. Spank would always have one hid away. Like the guys today would never, you wouldn't keep them in there overnight. They'd look at the place and go. Of course, in them days, the boss just said, you, and you are going on the Uchi line. That was it. We didn't argue then. Most of the time, it was a month we'd stay in there. Sometimes we'd come out. When we had trouble on that line, we had a guy from Pickle Lake that used to fly with a CB, like a big boat on the bottom, And he was quite a character. He used to fly us in there. In fact, that plane right now is sitting at Sulikout in front of that hotel there, motel there. But that CB, when he touched down in the water would be right up over the windows in the compartments, I wasn't too happy about flying in that thing. I don't think that the guys now realize what we used to do. All we had for equipment was a panel truck, no augers. We got the first auger, boy, we thought we had her made then. Then we got a boom, sectional boom, went on the back of one of the trucks with a winch, and then we really had her made. We didn't have to push and pull up. They had one tractor, a TD6 tractor, but they only used that for stringing the wire. The horses, we used everything. And it scares me today to think of, we had a 45-gallon barrel, and we'd hook a rope, we'd chop a hole in the barrel with the axe on both sides, and put a snatch block up the tower, and the horse would pull us up, And I sometimes dream about this, them knots on the side there cutting on the rope cutting, and this horse pulling us up. I said that old horse, at 5 o'clock every night, he was going home. Said he hope he don't decide to go home when we're in the barrel. If you talk to any, there's not too many of us left now, but talk to any of them guys. And like, I spent 37.5 years with Hydro, and I don't regret one bit of it.
This line used to go out a lot more. Go back 10 years ago. Lots of storms roll through, and it was not uncommon to have one on one end fall down and one near the pickle end fall down, and you'd be running the whole line trying to put the power back on. Or old copper that used to be stapled on there, used to use small staples back in the old days, and then it will start to flip in the wind and go out and knock the conductor out, or knock the phase out, and that's hard to find with a helicopter, but it takes you a while.
Well, this is your typical hydro house. It's on the remote section of B1C. And crews would stay in here for months at a time and do their work, patrol, and report any trouble and be in contact with the operators out of earphones. You know, it's a long, lonely place out in the middle of nowhere. They'd stay typically up here for a couple of months, isolated from civilization. The only kind of communication would be the phone to switch. Hello? Yes? Len, how did you find me up here? I thought I'd gotten away from you.